A tale of two primers, shellac, waterborne. Let's dive in. Hey everybody, Dave Cook, DeFranco Painting and Wallpaper, and we are talking about primer. Two different primers, two completely different uses, but they get used a lot when priming painting cabinetry. Sorry. Textbook painting, if you're in Cleveland, they love bin primer. I don't think they've ever used this stuff. But bin primer they use a lot of, so they're a great paint contracting company in Cleveland. If you need a cabinet painter, they're your people. Anyway, so two different primers that we use. They both have very specific purposes. We have found very distinct, in 15 years, we found very distinct reasons why one over the other. The biggest for us is why you need each primer. Stix primer is made, marketed, and intended to be a bonding primer. That means it sticks. It sticks to almost everything. On the label, it has a picture of glass and tile. It's actually made to stick to glass tile. That's the amount of bonding property it has. Bin primer is not marketed, and depending on who you talk to, it's really not a bonding primer. It's a primer. All primers will stick to the surfaces. This sticks to glass. It's hard to prep glass without cleaning it. This is made for sealing surfaces, getting rid of smoke, stains. You can use it for hard to reach surface, hard to seal surfaces, sometimes drywall issues, but like smoke stains, water stains, this stuff is beyond great. Cabinets, like I said, I know companies use this stuff. I don't consider it a great bonding primer because you have to treat this as a mechanical bonding primer. Mechanical bonding primer means the surface that you are putting it on needs to be prepped the right way. So both of these, the surface has to be clean. This stuff we scuff, and we just use scuff pads to clean it. We're not getting into sandpaper, stripping surfaces. This, you have to actually create some good bite. So this is creating more of a mechanical bond. A lot of people call it tooth. So the surface itself, glass is really smooth. It still sticks. This, I have noticed, it doesn't bond to a smooth surface. So you have to create a surface that it can bond to. You do that by sanding. So I would say 320. I know 220 is good. I would say 320 because I don't like those scuff marks. So you're scuffing everything with a 320 or higher. You can go 400 even. You want that surface tension to break, and we call it tooth because it's biting. So this stuff actually grabs all those little nooks and crannies that you don't really see on a microscopic, smaller, micro level. This stuff is taking those and it's biting into it, and that's what it's grabbing onto. This stuff just sticks. The good thing about using something like this is once you start breaking the surface tension, so every cabinet, ones we have hanging up now are cherry. So the cherry is a beast of a cabinet when you're repainting because cherry wood and cherry stain bleeds. And what I mean by bleed is once you break that surface tension, so you have a clear polyurethane, you sand that, and now the stain is exposed. Water-based primer brings that stain level right to the top, and now you've got orange stains all over your wood doors. This stuff, you sand it and you break the surface tension, break the surface clear coat, and you expose the stain. Even if you have this on there, you could see orange. Every time we've done it, it's a little bit differently. But even if you see orange bleed through, the cool thing about this, it encapsulates that stain. So it can't come to the surface. You may see it, so the stain may stain the primer, but the stain won't come through. In a water-based primer, the stain comes through the top and actually will continue to stain, and you'll keep seeing those marks. You'll keep seeing that stain come through no matter what you do until you use an oil or spray version of this to block that stain out. So that's a really big difference in these two. Bonding, sealing, chemical adhesion, mechanical adhesion. Two different purposes. The other thing is cleanup. Stix primer is water-based, not waterborne. Yeah, it's waterborne because it has a urethane in it. So technically it does have an oil solvent component to it, but the way it's made, Nick Slavic out of Minnesota does a great job of explaining this, where at a molecular level, the urethane solvent-based is encapsulated, surrounded by water. So as the water evaporates, the urethane solvent material is allowed to dry out. The water evaporates, the solvent sticks. That's the best explanation I can remember of what a waterborne finish is. If I'm wrong, if I haven't that right, leave a comment, let me know, because I make sure I want to be correct on that. This is a alcohol based. So it is, well, you have denatured alcohol with you. So you spray with this stuff. You still should use a respirator no matter what you do, because you don't want those chemicals. You use this stuff, you better be using a respirator. And it better be a chemical charcoal emitter. You can't just use a face mask like you use for COVID. You need to have a full-on respirator with this stuff. It stinks. You have to be well ventilated. You have to have some air coming in. You have to have air going out. It dries stupid fast, which is great until you need to spray your gun because you let your gun sit. Denatured alcohol is what you clean this with. It cleans up fast, it cleans up easy, but now you got to get rid of your denatured alcohol, which is contaminated with a solvent-based product. So that's one of the biggest reasons I use a spray can if I have to get something like this. Spray it, and if I'm out, I throw it away. I don't want to have to deal with throwing away chemicals. I don't have to deal with trying to figure out how I'm going to dispose of chemicals, and I don't want to breathe chemicals, get them on my hands, etc. I hate using paint thinner if I don't have to. So to use, the solvent-based, the alcohol, nope, that's just not right. So a couple other issues, color-wise, color. When you're tinting it, the B-I-N primer is pretty much what you get. It's white, it's a little bit more translucent. You can build up some layers on this, kind of like using a clear coat. So it's translucent, so since it's translucent, you need more coats to build up. Most people just put a coat on there and then they go to a regular primer. This stuff you can tint. You can't tint it as dark as some primers, but you can go to, Sherwin-Williams has different levels of primers, P1 to P6, and that's the levels of gray that you can do. I think this is a P4 is the darkest you can do in Stix. Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore has different P levels. I don't know what they are, but you can do different colors in this, which is kind of nice. There's some other primers you can get more colors, deeper, good and bad. But we like this because we can tint it overall to the color that we're painting, so it helps that color stay solid. So if there's a scratch, I'm not worried about it as much because the color is still there. The white, you're gonna have to put more coats at some point on there, one way or another. Dry time, we've talked about dry time on this. It's like 10-15 minutes, man. It dries fast. This 30 minutes, you put a fan on it, you can dry a little bit quicker. It still dries pretty fast, but this dries ridiculously fast. We talked about odor, we talked about cleaning up with chemicals. Which one is the right for you? It depends what you're looking for. So application determines material you're using. I have had to use, it's not bin, we use just a spray can of, I don't have it. It's a spray can of a oil-based primer. So we do some work with furniture here and there. They're fun projects, but a lot of those require oil. Previous materials that they've used, linseed oils, that kind of stuff, they're really, really hard to encapsulate, to block, to not have those come through. So it requires a solvent for us in order to start painting. Some of them have some stains, crackles, different finishes on there that are just old world finishes that they don't make anymore. Most people don't use them anymore, but they're hard to get rid of. And I'm not sanding them down to bare wood. So what we're doing, we just sand it, make it look clean, and then we encapsulate. So there's different ways to encapsulate, just make a complete new shell to start with. This is an easy way to do it. Oil-based, there's oil-based primers that we can use also that work really, really well. Zinsser makes a low-odor stain blocking primer. It's in a green can. We see it at Menards. Benjamin Moore stores, I think, around here carry it. It's just an odorless oil-based primer that's a stain blocking. That stuff works really nice. It's 2 hours before you can touch it, but it works really well for what we're using it for. So those are our two differences between Stix, B-I-N. Hopefully that helps you if you're working on a project. This is for cabinets, drywall, interior, completely different primers, completely different applications. We can do some videos on that. If you're interested, let me know what kind of stuff you're interested in and learning about. I'd love to get those videos to you. but this primarily furniture, cabinets, woodwork. These are our go-tos. If you got other questions, let us know. Hopefully, it's good enough that you can hire us for some cabinet painting, maybe some furniture painting. Love to see how we can help you out. You can schedule an estimate. We'll put the link below. We'll talk to you soon. Hope you have a great day. God bless.